I'm going there to see my Savior, who shed for me his precious blood.
When women believe that there is a glass ceiling at their job or in the government, they are embracing three poisonous lies. First, that the reason that they cannot succeed is because of what they are, women. Second, that men are institutionally and deliberately conspiring to oppress them solely because they are women. And third, that they do not have sufficient intelligence, determination, and talent to circumnavigate any obstacles, overcome all challenges, and squeeze the nectar of victory from the thorny fruit of adversity and drink it from the chalice ripped from the hands of their subjugated competitors. The glass ceiling is a dishonest myth. It is a belief that men are preventing equally capable and ambitious women from rising to the most coveted and remunerated positions in business and politics. It is dishonest because it refuses to acknowledge the vast numbers of women at all levels of government and business, or the fact that organizations run by women do not promote women at the higher ratios than those controlled by men, or that companies headed up by men overwhelmingly employ men at the most physical and dangerous positions, just as those headed up by women do. If men were really oppressing women, then why don't businesses with male leadership push all the women into the steam rooms, up onto the rooftops, and out onto the oil derricks? Women outnumber men in the comfortable middle of almost every corporation. While we are talking about glass ceilings, what about education? Women comprise 76% of the teachers, 52% of school principals, and 78% of central administrators. Healthcare is very similar. The notion that there is institutional discrimination against women is laughable, or it would be if the narrative were not so destructive to the women themselves. Consider political office. Some say that the ultimate glass ceiling is the presidency of the United States, that the patriarchy prevents women from ascending to that highest office. However, since the early 1900s, when women won the right to vote, there are far more potential female voters than male voters. And in every election since 1980, there have been in excess of 7 million more actual female voters than male voters. This means that in any given election, women can vote in whomever they want, and men can't do anything about it. The positive side of this is that it proves that a significant percentage of women are voting their values and not their gender identity. It's incredibly dismissive to assume that women only care about a woman being elected. The situation is not much different in the corporate world. Although activists point to a disparity in the ratio of men and women at the top levels of corporate management, they gloss over other inconvenient facts, like the even greater opposite disparity of men to women in the lowest levels of the job place. It seems that the assumption is that any man is welcome to be the CEO, but that no woman is. However, the fact is that very, very, very few men are qualified and capable of such a rare and specialized job like CEO. And for the time being, far fewer women are. It is vogue to bemoan the lack of equal representation in the CEO positions of the Fortune 500 companies. However, women are by far more represented there than they are in the NFL or the NBA or in Major League Baseball. While men are not allowed to play in women's sports leagues, there is no rule that prohibits a woman from playing in the men's leagues. And if there were a woman who could compete at that level, do you really think she wouldn't be suiting up tomorrow? So is it misogyny that prevents women from taking part in men's professional sports? Or are there other considerations that account for this complete shutout? Now, this example illustrates the physical differences between men and women. But what could account for the differences and the disparity at corporate management? It obviously isn't physical differences. And it also isn't intellectual difference, because there is no difference in intelligence between men and women. Besides, if intelligence were the issue, well, then the smartest person in every company would be the CEO. And that's clearly not the case by many CEOs' own admission. And you can confirm this by asking any employee in any company in America, and he will tell you that the CEO is a blooming idiot. It is obvious that this is much more complex than that corporate America is structured in such a way as to prevent women from rising to the top. This is a matter of choice and preference. Any success in such a specialized and ultra-competitive arena is going to require monk-like devotion, both to developing the specialized talents required, as well as an investment of inordinate amounts of time honing those skills. And women, disproportionately to men, lose interest in this degree of commitment, preferring mid-level positions and the accompanying freedom to pursue outside interests, such as family or human value-oriented endeavors. Now, in no way am I trying to imply that there are not men who resent a woman being their boss, but it is far more nuanced than to simply say it's misogyny. Almost every one of them is married to a woman. Many of them has a daughter they love, and all of them have a mother. They have female friends. They hold the door open for women, they carry their luggage, and pick up the check at dinner. And in the face of danger, they will offer themselves as human shields for women they don't even know. So to call them misogynists is inaccurate and unhelpful. The real issue is that business is war without bullets. It is cutthroat competition. Men don't want anyone to be their boss. They want to be the boss. And they will use any weakness, real or perceived, to gain the upper hand in that competition. As rough and tumble as that might sound, it isn't like they're rolling over for other men in the organization. If you want a visual example of how men compete, watch and listen to professional athletes trash talk each other into submission. A pop culture version of this is the old cartoon of Ralph Wolf and Sam Sheepdog. Each day they exchange pleasantries as they clock in, and then they try to kill each other until the end of the day whistle blows and they calmly bid each other good night, only to come back the next day and do it all over again. This cutthroat competitiveness is off-putting to many women. However, there are plenty of examples of women who have risen to the challenge and dominated in business and politics. The real glass ceiling is not some artificial barrier erected by a supposed patriarchy. The real limitation that is holding women back is the belief that being a woman is the reason they are not succeeding. When a woman concludes that she is being oppressed based solely on her gender, she is giving up. She is effectively saying that there's nothing she can do about it, that her success is entirely out of her hands. I refuse to allow my daughter to think that way. I want my daughter to understand that no one in this world is going to give her an inch, that she will have to fight for everything that is worth anything. I want my daughter to be completely persuaded that her only limitations are those things she allows to limit her. I want my daughter to laugh at the dismissive, disrespectful, condescending, pseudo-sympathetic delusion of gender-based barriers and to rise to the highest levels of competence and eviscerate the competition, both men and women. She can't do anything about being a woman. But if there is no misogyny, then being a woman is of no more of a liability than being a man. And then she can focus on the real liabilities that hold any person down, the ones she can do something about.
I'll soon be free from every trial, and this from will rest beneath the sun.